Well, I am shocked, but I think first we do have to try to explain what happened before talking about its implications. What we do know is that there are two immediate reasons why Hillary Clinton lost. The first is that, simply speaking, she didn't inspire as much enthusiasm as her predecessor, Barack Obama. So that while she massively won all kinds of Democratic strongholds, she didn't win them by the same colossal margins that Obama did 4 years or 8 years ago. And in a close race, that often made the difference. The second reason, which has not been talked about very much, but it's important to remember, is that there were 4 candidates running. And in a number of states, the third and fourth candidates together got about 5% of the vote. Since many of the key races were only decided by 1 or 1.5 percentage points, that was enough to tip the balance. And if you take that with the first factor about the lower enthusiasm level, that's sufficient to explain it. You don't have to say, well, the American public all of a sudden became much more sympathetic with Trump, because the third point that one can say is that Trump himself, his ideas and his personality did not exactly inspire confidence even by the people who voted for him. So one of the findings from the exit poll was that a majority of voters in a number of states actually thought he was unqualified to be president, that he lacked the correct temperament to be president, and in some cases disagreed with his policies, and yet there was a majority of people in support of him. So you put those things together, and what you have is possibly a slight increase in the number of people who are willing to express some kind of racist arguments or policies or things like this. But it's a confluence of these other factors. It was kind of like a perfect storm. Several things came together that otherwise would not have. Now, for the implications, that I think is in some ways much more obvious. We know that Trump is opposed to the whole structure of alliances that we've seen ever since the end of World War II. We know that Trump is not opposed to nuclear proliferation. We know that Trump is buddy-buddy with any number of authoritarian leaders. We know that Trump wants to tear up all kinds of trade deals and other types of international economic accords. So that's clear, and it's obviously going to be a prolonged struggle. But frankly, it seems to me that the bigger problem is what this implies for democracy in the United States, and by extension, as a model or as a kind of symptom for other countries as well. Because Trump has proposed, for example, throwing Hillary Clinton in prison. He's proposed spying on people. He's proposed expelling literally millions of people. He's proposed violating all kinds of laws. He's proposed throwing all kinds of people off of health care and so forth. And you put all these things together, and this is a really radical set of changes in the United States. And since we know that for better or for worse, the United States tends to serve as a model for the domestic policies, not just the foreign policies, but the domestic policies of many other countries, that's actually very worrisome.